What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Glint Standard. My name's Jake. I'm usually behind the camera. You probably don't know me. I'm with Jonathan today.
What's up, guys?
And we are talking about authenticity in marketing.
No, but like before we start recording, us talking about, we're both dorks and we're talking about like superheroes and stuff and, our favorite superheroes and what drives us. I think that like is what ties us really into the topic today, which is authenticity.
Right.
And, one of my favorite forms of getting that authenticity across is storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why when you look at a lot of these comic book heroes that we talk about, and you look at a lot of these things that do very, very well, like for instance, Batman. We were talking a lot about Batman before we started recording. One of the exciting things about Batman and one of the interesting things about Batman, it really is the same story told again and again and again. And what I mean by that is that it takes a traditional story, being Sherlock Holmes, and you have Sherlock, which is Batman. You have Watson, which is Alfred, essentially,
right.
or Robin, depending on how you look at it. And then you have, the maniacal arch enemy, which is Moriarty. Mm-hmm. And you see that story retold again and again and again, and it's very, very successful. I think you see that with a lot of storytelling, and that's why a lot of times that authentic, kind of storytelling that we utilize in marketing does very, very well. One of our clients that we recently did stuff with, you and I both went on a shoot with, was Parker County Brewing. Mm-hmm. And, one of the big things that we did during that video shoot is we focused on Ryan telling his story.
Yes.
And being like his authentic self. So, I don't know, man. I think it's really interesting when you look at the correlation between authenticity and storytelling, mm-hmm. And see that applied in a marketing arena. You see it in a lot of different ways. So
yeah, and just people being able to tell their story really changes how you can market for them.
Yeah.
I think that just Ryan as an example, you can really like tell the hardships he's been in, and it really connects with a person who's starting a bar.
Yeah.
And it makes you want to go and meet that guy.
Yeah.
Where as maybe other clients like are more polished and prim and for that industry, that's absolutely great.
Yeah.
But I think being able to show and have a different, mindset or, a kind of different story arc with a client like a bar, I think it's really good and helpful to, kind of loosen up around the edges, mm-hmm. and show how much of like a human being he is, Yeah,
and traditionally speaking, I think that that's a very interesting point you bring up too, because traditionally speaking, you'd want to be super proper, no ums, ands, uhs, people get very caught up in that traditional kind of approach to marketing where everything's very crisp, clean, and polished. But one of the reasons why I thought it'd be great for you to talk today too is because like something we're seeing more and more and more is that younger generations can smell that inauthenticity like a bloodhound. It is crazy how quickly somebody can pick up on something not being authentic versus being authentic. So, like you said with Ryan, like that's a great use case because something that before we even start shooting, we're trying to loosen him up and just get him talking just as a person. Mm-hmm. And I think that helps sell your product a bit more because like you said, if this seems like a cool person, I'm going to want to go maybe get something from them because I relate to them a little bit. They seem like maybe my buddy that I know, or like, this guy seems like one of the bros, or maybe this girl, I really get where this girl's coming from, or you connect with those people on a deeper level. And I think that we're in an age too, especially like with your guys' generation, because like what's interesting about me is that, I'm a millennial, so I kind of get a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where that switch started to change a little bit, because like my generation, that's when a lot of influencers started to pop up, like on social media, whether it be Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. YouTube was the big one for a lot of people. You get to really see how that change is happening.
Yeah.
And you get to really see the effects of that change. So I don't know. I think it's very interesting, kind of getting those perspectives and seeing how those little things that we used to consider flaws or like, oh, get those out of here. Yeah. How those really help like organic marketing, especially like if you're talking at like a ground level, smaller business. Mm-hmm. It definitely seems to work a little bit better there.
I know for a fact, in my eyes, I mean, every person that is my age has made a video. Maybe they're not, really trying to make these, become a real like YouTuber, but every kid that I know has tried it one time.
Yeah. In some way.
In some way, they posted on their Instagram. Yeah. They tried to make a video game, like just anything. Yeah. And I know that, like, for me personally, I know if you're reading a script.
Yeah.
And specifically with Ryan and that recent shoot we did, it's it was great times shooting him, and we had questions that he knew was going to be asked, and we even gave him like answers we might have expected him to answer with. Yeah. But whenever we got down to it, whenever he just talked, that's when it happened. Yeah. And whenever these, I know companies aren't. Not all companies are trying to go viral. That's not really their goal. Yeah. But that whenever somebody is just talking, whenever you see a viral video, it's something magic happens. Yeah. Something crazy, something natural. Yeah. And it's like, and you can really see like almost like the human spirit. Mm. And the reason it gets so popular is because it's relatable. Yeah. And it's authentic, and you're like, oh, imagine if that happened. Like, even it might not apply, but like I saw a video of a crocodile trainer. Yeah. And the crocodile like got aggressive on him. Yeah. And it's like every time you go to the zoo, that's what you want to see. Yeah. Yeah. Like
the real stuff.
Even though like you might not want to, that's why you're going to the zoo. Yeah. Like you want to see that piece of life that's real. Yeah. And I think like it's our job to try to bring it out of people as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And we have clients that are more buttoned up, credit unions of the such, and we have to be much more like polished and proper. Yeah. But I think it's still great when we've done shoots with credit unions and stuff. Yeah. And when we get a guy that everybody's talking about him in the office, like, he's so nervous. Yeah. It's like we're gonna put him up, and we have to like hype him up. Yeah. And he's nervous at first. Yeah. And then he gets more comfortable in front of that camera. Yeah. It's those are the best moments. I think.
And I agree. And I think something that's important to remember is that, marketing and advertising in general is an industry 100%, and it is a business, and it needs to be treated like a business, but it is also a business built on a collection of art forms. You're right. And I think something to remember is that like that's where the job as the artist, whether it be a videographer, graphic designer, and as you mentioned, like we do have button-up clients, and there's nothing wrong with having a more polished button-up look for specific clients, because a tool for a job is the right tool for the job. A screwdriver may be able to bang in a nail and get the nail in, but it's not the most efficient tool. So for those like credit unions and for some of those more buttoned up type clientele, something more polished is going to work. But in the case of, like we mentioned, like Ryan, or maybe sometimes smaller businesses that are very concerned with, oh, well, how am I going to compete with the big boys? Like, I don't have this big production crew, and I don't have this, and I don't have that. Honestly, like the most important factor for groups like that, like we're talking about, is that authenticity. And that's where it's the job of the artist, whether it be videographer or graphic designer. That's where their job to kind of pull that storytelling or that kind of like art element, the soul of whatever is being conveyed, like pull that through. Yeah. And I think that's what makes like our industry so interesting, is that like you can have like that more PC buttoned up, high production value shoot. But also you can have these more down and gritty kind of shoots that we sometimes are a part of, or so like we get a lot of variety and a lot of different direction. But no, I think you're right. I think that sometimes those little things and I think something interesting. Sorry, kind of building off the stuff we were talking about with Ryan. Something you said that made me think of it was, we had those interviews for Ryan, those interview questions for Ryan, and what I find most interesting is that we ended up using a good number of those interview questions. I think there were 20 of them. But I think the scheduled interview questions, we only used like 5.
Yeah.
And it's because in the moment, and this is where like it's really good to get like, fortunately us here at Glint, we have a lot of not just great team members that can do their job professionally, but have a little bit of that artist soul at heart. Is that our videographer, he knew when Ryan was talking about his past and his involvement with being a professor and kickboxing and tying those storytelling elements with what he wants the brewery to represent for his kids and never giving up and tying that into the sports element. Like, that's that kind of magic in a bottle that you can't really replicate. You have to, kind of take those when they pop up and be free and willing to, take the plan. Plan's great for a direction, but that's it, a direction. Sometimes wisdom is knowing when to throw that plan to the wind and be like, hey, like we got some good stuff here. Let's maybe, let's build out the plan so that we have it. But let's not be afraid to throw that to the wind and try this other thing, because, you talk about like the virality that like kids your age are like running for and chasing and stuff like that. Me and Aaron have talked about this a lot. There are so many components to something, not just going viral, but just being a success to begin with.
Yeah.
One thing I've definitely learned here at Glint is I used to think like success just teetered on having a good idea and good execution. But there are so many outside elements to that. It's more than just that. There's timing. Sometimes you can have the right idea at the wrong time. Like that is a huge part of it, is that sometimes it's just not the right time to do this, that, or the other. But I think that also a good learning lesson from that is that the question becomes like, well, like if it's so many components and I don't know the answers, how do I know what to do? And I think that gets to like the art aspect of it, which is that sometimes you just got to try stuff and just see what happens. All these individuals that usually go viral, it's not because they had some plan to go viral. It's because they love doing what they do. And they did it every day as an escape, or as I almost said vice, not as a vice, but as like an avenue to like of expression. And they if they have a pet dog, they're not posting videos of their dog when they're not viral. Just because like, oh, I want to go viral, let me post videos of my dog. No, like they get a free weekend, they like their dog, and they want to make videos of the dog, and then just so happens they go viral. So. Number one, not chasing that virality. I think that is really important to maintaining that authenticity in your business. Is definitely not chasing the virality. The virality will, if it comes, because there's no guarantee it'll come, but if it comes, it's only going to come if you're not worried about it.
I think even what you were saying about like expressing somebody's like personality. Like for example, like. With Ryan, it was great seeing him come out of his shell and talk about like what he's doing, and that's a great thing for his industry specifically. But even for, our other clients that we've done shoots for, like the credit unions and such, it's like I want my banker to be like a smart guy. And asking him a question that like I don't even know the answer to, and him just explaining it perfectly, and just like this guy is so genuine and nice, and it's like he like 100% knows what I'm talking about, and he can answer any question I could ever have, and bringing that out of him, I think is our job as like as marketers, and even just industry to industry, where they want a more professional like look to their business, and the words they say mean something. Ryan's means something too, but maybe course. A little bit like it means it's a little bit of a different like level to the game, I guess.
There's different levels, I think is a great way of putting it, but there's also like, if you're a legal consultant,
right?
The emphasis on your words is going to be much stronger.
Yeah.
Because obviously like the stakes of those words are much higher.
Yeah.
Versus an individual like, Ryan, where like, of course, like what he says still matters and how he says it still matters. But again, that goes a lot back to, what we were talking about a little while ago about like knowing that environment and knowing those different industries. And, fortunately, like that's why, we're so good here at Glint is we do a lot of research on those individual industries. So we know where to lean in that a bit more, where not to lean into that a bit more, you'll be a little bit looser. I'm not going to treat, like I said, we're not going to treat Ryan on a video shoot the same way we might treat like, like I said, like a legal consultant from like a law firm or something like that. It's gonna be different, but like you said, that's where it's our responsibility to kind of, as professionals, not just us here at Glint, but also other agencies. That's where it's your job to know how to navigate that. So
I also think that like our team here at Glint, no matter who comes in the door, someone here, the client is going to relate to someone. We have so many different ages and backgrounds that a client can come in and talk to someone and they're going to feel that relatability and be like, this person knows what I want and they're going to deliver that for me. And, I might be in the younger audience where, like we're advertising a bar. What do you think? Even if the demographic for the bar is like not exact, it's not like a college bar, but it's like, I know generally if there's some young people in there, even if your demographic is, 30s to 40s, you're doing a good job. Because, that's kind of my wheelhouse at this point in my life. Whereas if you're coming in and you want something proper, you're probably going to talk to the big boss and try to really feel that respect and, give a nice firm handshake. Where it's like, I'm in that situation, I'm just like, yes, tutor me.
Be my mentor, please.
I know my job in those type of meetings where I'm just like, let you guys talk and just be like, I'm so glad I was here to hear that. And I am glad. Like, I am glad that I was here, and it teaches you a lot. And one day I'll be older and that might be me. I might be in that situation.
I don't think that ever stops though, because I can definitely tell you, like, because you're 25. I'm 33. 33, like, I definitely still hit that a lot too. And I don't know, I don't know if I would ever want that to kind of stop. Like knowing that with these new industries and especially marketing, like how everything's evolving all the time. As we mentioned before, like that prim proper look was the main thing for the longest time. Like get it as pristine as possible. Versus now, where like some of these more down and dirty guerrilla style videos that some people are shooting are doing the job. So it's crazy how not just change, but polar opposites sometimes too. I think that's what's really cool about our industry is that like you having stuff to learn at 25, I got just as much stuff to learn at 33, and I'm sure, like, I don't want to reveal any other team members' ages or anything, but because they'll kill me. I'm sure they got plenty of cool stuff that they're learning too. So there's just as much I can learn from guys your age that like you can learn from guys my age and up. So our industry is very, very interesting and very diverse, and like you said, like especially here at Glint, we have so many different people from so many different backgrounds. Your dad's from the UK. Erin has got her history and her involvement with different colleges and communities, and we all have our thing. So it's very exciting seeing how we get to bring that and serve our clients better, like you're talking about. Like you're 25, man. Like, you brewery, hell yeah. Like,
I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Like
how
we need Jake's opinion on this.
They have a lot of video shoots. I'll specifically go film Instagram reels every day over there.
But yeah, no, it's really cool seeing those changes and seeing those differences. So I definitely think like some major takeaways that people can take from like authenticity and how it can better help their environment is number one. I think that you need to loosen up.
Yeah.
You need to read the room. You need to kind of understand, like, okay, what is my business? What am I talking about? And who am I going to be showing this to?
Yeah.
If you are, a part of a law firm, again, I keep using law firm because that's the main thing I keep thinking of.
Yeah.
But, if you are part of a law firm, yeah, like for sure, you're going to want your content to be more buttoned up, more professional. Something a little bit more elevated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're working at a brewery, you want to come off a little bit more of as like the everyman, or if you're have something that's a little bit more business consumer versus B2B, business to business.
Yeah.
You're gonna want something a little bit more grounded so that people are like drawn towards you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think it's really important to understand that like there is no real wrong answer. Like I used to work at a location. We used to love to say this all the time. Like marketing is an experiment.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know unless you try it. You want to make educated experiments. You want to go off data. You want to go off maybe some things that kind of case examples. Maybe another agency has tried something, or maybe you want to take a spin on it or try something different. But give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, okay, that's fine. We don't got to do it again. We can do something else, or we can give it another shot and maybe make some tweaks. That's why I think my third point is that I think after action reports.
Yeah.
I think after those experiences, either succeed or fail, it's really important to sit down as a team and kind of talk about how those things worked or didn't work, and where that authenticity maybe did hit the mark. And maybe where it didn't. Because sometimes it's not necessarily that you're doing something wrong. You just might be focusing on the wrong thing. I think those are just like some of the major takeaways that you guys as business owners and other agencies can take from that, is kind of utilizing those things to show you, new ways in the future. And we encourage you guys to like keep experimenting, keep trying. Because again, we monetize. We're in marketing and we're in advertising, so obviously it's a business. But again, like I mentioned earlier, at the end of the day, like we're monetizing off of different art forms, and you need to, it's business first. Gotta pay the bills.
Yeah.
But remember, it does come from an area of art, and there is some element of connecting with people and getting that message across and finding new ways to do that to make people feel connected to either your brand or your product or anything else.
Yeah, it's all about that expression.
Yeah.
It's your business. I mean, people say it's an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever you're in, whatever you're doing, that's you.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But, not always the case.
The people we're talking to, and it's usually somebody who loves what they're doing and wants it to succeed, and they're trying to tell their story, and that's our job to try to help them tell it,
tell it.
And I don't know, you saying it is that art form, because people, I mean, even if you're in a job that you thought, oh, there's no art in this, it's like it is. It's always, it's all part of that. Like it's the whole picture. You
can't lose it, because if you do, what you're trying to get across is going to lose its soul. And again, going back to kind of what brought up this whole talk of authenticity in the first place is that people are getting more and more savvy to being able to tell when things are soulless. There was a couple of podcasts back where me and Miriam talked about. It was actually around Christmas time, and we were talking about the way we were seeing people use AI. Around the holidays. And one of the main things that we noticed, and it got a lot of blowback, and you guys feel free to go watch the full podcast if you want to know more, but Coca-Cola did a lot of AI work with their holiday advertising in this just past year in 2024, and people did not receive it well at all. People could see straight through it immediately. It lost, Coca-Cola has always been known for like its polar bear and kind of like Santa Claus giving a kid a Coke, and it's just very much to the heart and soul of the season. And when you remove that, it's just consumerism at that point. And we really need to lean into the art. And again, like we need to be logical to some degree and understand that like the business does come first and we got to pay the bills. But if you lose the soul of what you're doing and the drive for what you're doing, whether it be through your product or through your client's product, it's going to suffer. So that's one of the, like I said, that's the biggest reason why I think authenticity is important for you guys as agencies or businesses, and something we strongly embrace here at Glint. So
I think that
you're fine.
I think that just as my perspective with that AI stuff, as much as it's a very helpful tool.
Yeah.
That it is a scary thing.
It is.
And people my age are like, is it over?
Yeah, really?
Like is it all done? Like, are we? I mean, is any of this going to exist anymore? Are they all going to do it? Yeah. And that's why I love this conversation.
Yeah.
Is talking about things that those dang robots can't do.
Yeah.
We like, it's the only way, just humanity's sake. That's what I'm thinking. It's like we got to keep it that's what people are drawn to.
Yeah.
And the more it's happening, the more like that's going to matter. It is telling your true story.
Yeah.
And being that human.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know a lot of like older people who are getting just absolutely tricked by AI.
I know.
And
the number of times my dad calls me
or
sends me something, I'm like, Dad, it's AI. It's not real.
I'm trying my hardest to train my brain and be like, that's AI. That's AI. Yeah. But even that question where you're like, is that even real?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. We're trying to bring out the realness in people and show you that, we're still out here.
Yeah, and I think that only becomes more important like as an oversaturation occurs, because it is.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, ultimately, like a lot of businesses want to cut cost.
Yeah.
And the way they see cutting costs right now, anyway, because it's the hot new thing, is AI.
Yeah.
And there's going to be an oversaturation.
Mm-hmm.
And just like we saw like in 2024 with Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola has more money than God.
Yeah.
Like if there's anybody that has the money to spend they're cutting costs, so it's people, it doesn't matter how much money the company has and how much they invest in AI. It's a great tool.
Yeah.
We advocate using it. Like, we don't tell people not to use AI. But you need to remember that at the end of the day, like you still need to add the human element, because it's not going to go well if you just stick with AI. So, but anyway, Jake,
I think that's good.
Yeah, appreciate you having here, man. Like I said, I know that we don't get you on as often as we like, but maybe
usually
we'll get you
behind the camera.
Yeah, I know. Usually you're behind the camera. But you guys can. We'd appreciate if you went out and watched or listened to any of our other podcasts. You can reach them anywhere podcasts are available. And we also recommend you go to Glint Advertising. That's Glint, GLINTADV.com. There you can see our blogs and some of our other content, and maybe you can see some of the stuff we've done, and maybe we can figure out if there's something we can do for you. So appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Glint Standard. You can see more episodes here, or click the logo below to follow our channel, and please hit the thumbs up if you like this episode.